What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcasts. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you. But Mark, now we're moving on. We're going 11 through 21 for our next one. And this is the one thing I'm just going to say it. I said it during the NBA one. There's only one thing I hate about the NFL mock draft. If we're in the NBA, you get 3 segments, 10, 10, 10. But for us, you got to do top 10. Then it's 11-11 because there's 32 teams, not just 30.
We could just do 10, 10, 10, and 2.
10, 10, 10, then a fourth segment where it's just 2. The Super Bowl winners. That's what we talked about in the last one. However, we're doing 11 through 21. We'll start with you.
Yep.
Take us through your picks, starting with the Dolphins at number 11.
So Dolphins, number 11, we're going Roquan Smith, linebacker out of Georgia. For the Bengals, they're going to take Connor Williams, offensive tackle out of Texas. Notice I'm starting to say positions and things because we're starting to get to a point where if you're not like an actual college football fan, you might not start to know who these people are. Or a draft fanatic. Yeah. So number 13, Redskins, Josh Allen, quarterback out of Wyoming. Packers are going to go with Derwin James, safety, Florida State. Really like that guy. It really upsets me to have to give him to the Packers, especially with Clinton Dix, another guy I really like being there, but whatever. 15, Cardinals, not going for quarterback. They're going to go with, correct me if I'm wrong, Martinez Rankin.
Yep.
Offensive tackle, Mississippi State. James Washington, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma State, is going to the Ravens at 16. 17, Chargers. Deron Payne, defensive tackle out of Alabama, one of my favorite names in the whole draft.
Bringing the pain.
The Seahawks at number 18 are going to go Arden Key, defensive end, LSU. Then 19, Cowboys, Vita Vea, defensive tackle, Washington. And number 20, rounding it all out, Dante Jackson, cornerback, LSU.
You got one more.
Isaiah Oliver, number 21 for the Bills, cornerback out of Colorado. And you got to wait until the next Bills pick the next video.
And I'm going to correct you on one name.
Was it
Vita Vea?
Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
Well, as soon as I said it, I was like, I don't think that's
That was our favorite name from the 1.0. I'm like, man, I got to correct Mark there. Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
From Washington. But let's go into mine. Dolphins, number 11, going Quentin Nelson, the offensive guard from the Golden Domers, Notre Dame. Then the Bengals at 12, going offensive tackle from Oklahoma, Orlando Brown. Redskins at 13 take the safety out of Florida State, Derwin James. Packers going wide receiver from SMU, Cortland Sutton. Number 15, the Cardinals taking a Cardinal in themselves, Lamar Jackson, the former Heisman winner, quarterback from Louisville. Then we've got the Ravens at 16 going Mike McGlinchey from offensive tackle Notre Dame. Then at 17, the Chargers going with Harold Landry, the outside linebacker defensive end hybrid from Boston College. The Seahawks going Connor Williams, offensive tackle from Texas. Cowboys going with Vita Vea, defensive tackle from Washington. The Lions staying true from my 1.0, going Arden Key, defensive end LSU. And then the Bills rounding out this little 10 picks in the draft with Roquan Smith, linebacker from Georgia. And I want to go a little bit out of order. I know the first one in our list down is the Redskins. I want to start with the Cardinals, though. And the reason why I want to start with the Cardinals is both you and I have different picks. I have quarterback, you have offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And quarterback is a big need for them. We did talk about, could they trade up for a Baker Mayfield? The most important thing with this, though, and I mean, kind of the Giants have this too, but they're in a position where they might have to take quarterback unless they trade out. The Cardinals are one of the only teams that haven't made the playoffs that haven't signed a head coach. Like the Lions, it's pretty sure that Patricia's going to be their guy. The Giants are saying Pat Shurmur, even though Shurmur's like, you know what? I'm not talking about that. I've got other things to deal with right now. Bears have their guy. Raiders have their guy. Cardinals still don't have their guy. So with me, this is one where it's a tricky pick for me because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go quarterback because that's their biggest need to me. But based on what coach they bring in there, they could end up not going quarterback at 15th overall.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Cardinals won't go quarterback. I think when they get their head coach, I think Arizona is one of those prime destinations for one of these free agent quarterbacks coming out. That's one of the spots I definitely expect to get filled up. And part of it's because they're 15, you know. The Broncos and the Jets, they have a good shot at a quarterback. The Redskins at 13 have a better chance of trading up. Not a great one, but still they'll be able to potentially, like I have them at Josh Allen, they'll potentially be able to get a guy. And they still have the potential of re-signing Kirk Cousins or franchise tagging him still.
Which we're going to get to them in a second.
So for me, I'm looking at the Cardinals and I'm like, I feel like they're just going to miss it. And if I'm sitting there 15 and Lamar Jackson is my option, I'm going, yeah, no, we're going to pass. We're going to go any direction else. And you got to go for the spot. If you're not going to get your quarterback, at least get something to support them. Offensive line is the best way to go with that.
Originally, in my head, I thought how it was going to play out was that Coach Shurmur was going to go to the Cardinals because I thought that was the best. And it had nothing to do with, like, oh, inklings here and there. It was just, I heard the reports that, hey, there's a good chance that Case Keenum follows Coach Shurmur to whatever job he goes to, because with the Vikings, it's kind of assumed that if Teddy's good to go next year, he's got the starting job back again. Like, he's our guy. Case is just, even though he's doing a phenomenal job right now, he's just the placeholder. I was for sure that Shermer's going to be the guy. Keenum's going to follow him. Then you can either not draft quarterback and do that in the second round or later, or go with the quarterback in the first, someone like Lamar Jackson that you can have develop behind a Case Keenum and be that second quarterback. The only reason why I have them going Lamar Jackson and not, I almost had them going Mason Rudolph, who's the next quarterback on my list. Although right now I have Lamar Jackson just higher than Mason Rudolph because I said this on the Primetime podcast, I absolutely hate the people right now that are like, yeah, he's a wide receiver. That's a slap. And I said it then, it's a slap in the face to Lamar Jackson. Like, he is a quarterback. Now, do I think he's going to be a starting quarterback year one? No. I could see him doing the Tyrod Taylor route of, I'm with a team for 4 years. That next team I sign that contract with is who I get my big shot with, and that's where I get my starting job. However, the Cardinals, just one of those picks where I put him at quarterback right now, but I'm not quite sure if that's going to be the pick for 3.0 and beyond. You mentioned the Redskins. First off, before we even mention anything about a pick, what's your gut feeling? What do they do with Kirk Cousins? Like, because that's playing into what they do at 13 or if they trade up.
I think Cousins is done in Washington. I mean,
you don't think he gets franchise tagged?
It's a really expensive tag. It's a really expensive tag, and I don't think they'll try.
It's like 34, 35 mil, I think.
I don't think they'll do a tag and trade because what other team is going to say, yeah, sure, 34, 35 million, I'll take that. Whatever the number might be. I think he wants to get on the open market, and I think he will become probably the highest paid quarterback when he does so. If I guess Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't become the highest paid quarterback, who knows what's going to happen there.
True.
But I certainly think that his time in Washington is done. If they wanted something to happen, I think they would have made this deal happen already.
I'm looking right now to see if I can find the exact number. Yeah, so it would be if they tagged him for a third year this upcoming year, that tag would be $34 million. Because what it says here on 247 Sports is it's inconceivable that the Redskins front office would guarantee Cousins $34 million instead of using the transitional tag. But then again, this is Bruce Allen we're talking about. So they can use the traditional tag, hit him with 34 mil, that's what he's getting, or they can hit him with a transitional tag, which would help in trading him, which Kirk Cousins, too, that plays off of something that we talked about in the first segment. Let's say he goes free agency, he goes to a Broncos, then they're not drafting quarterback, I believe, in the top 5. So that's the thing. That's the only thing. I hate the first mock. I love the first mock draft because you just love putting pen to paper.
Yeah, sure.
You love putting pen to paper. The second mock draft, I hate. The only reason why I hate is where we are in the year. We're at the end of the year. We're getting ready for the Senior Bowl. And it's kind of like we're in that season where it's like, I wish most coaches would be finalized by now, that most jobs would be finalized. Last year, I think most jobs were finalized sooner rather than later. I think that most of the jobs are just waiting for the coaches that they want. Last year was boom, 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 what we're going to do to get our guy. But that's the only thing because there's so many things that are going to play into. I don't think the Redskins trade up, but I don't think, like where I am right now, if four quarterbacks, go in the top 6, I don't think the Redskins are going to go quarterback at all.
No,
even if they have,
how would they do it?
If they have Kirk Cousins or not, I don't think they'd take a Mason Rudolph or Lamar Jackson at 13.
No, that'd be a joke. I think Josh Allen's a good fit there. Is he going to be a day one starter? He might have to
if
in
Kirk
Washington.
Cousins is gone.
And that would be an interesting one for sure because that's going to be a dangerous situation for him to be a day one starter. But yeah, to me, he's 4th best quarterback, and there it is. It's quarterback. They need quarterback. There you go. I could see if he doesn't go to the Redskins, I could see him going to the Cardinals if the Cardinals don't get their free agent quarterback, but I think they're a more safe bet to get it.
Let me hit you with the other team that we're going to talk about. The last, but I'm going to throw a 4th one, surprise one in here at the end of this segment. The Seahawks. I had them go offensive tackle. I'm staying pat. I think offensive tackle is still the main position that they go for. This time you had them going with Arden Key, going with the pass rusher. What was going through your mind for the Seahawks? Because the interesting thing about the Seahawks that changed since our first mock draft, everyone except for basically Pete Carroll just clean house.
Yeah.
Darrell Bevels ain't there anymore. Everyone seemed to be, there's the door.
To me, it came down to a couple things. One, Arden Key, in my eyes, this was a fall. He fell quite a bit from where I think he could have gone. And Seahawks being a great defensive-minded team, this is a team who I think whoever they're coming in now to get as a defensive coordinator, that's going to be someone whose job essentially is bringing back the Legion of Boom. Bringing back that aggressive swagger type of defense that you're going to see out there. And I think Arden Key is a great player to do that. They could go with the offensive line help because we all know they need help desperately at offensive line. But to me, where I'm at, most of the best offensive linemen are off the board at this point. And you have a great, solid defensive end who is sitting there, still there. Go grab them and make it happen. Bring it back.
And you do have, personally on yours, you do have a ton of, Rankin is off the board. He's still on the board in mine. Williams is off the board on yours. He's still on the board on mine. And then I believe, is Orlando Brown still on the board with yours?
He's still on the board.
Orlando Brown. So Orlando Brown is still there. However, still going with Arden Key. I just think that, Connor Williams, this is the spot for him. Fits into that tackle spot that they need. However, the thing that could be interesting, I think, with the Seahawks is if they have a philosophy shift because of these coaches kind of getting the door for their system. Because arguably, and this is going off NFL.com, their top 3 needs that they list: offensive tackle number 1, cornerback number 2, and then offensive guard number 3. And the reason why they list cornerback, which I find interesting, is the fact that Richard Sherman injured this year. I think it was a torn Achilles, which kept him out most of the season, half the season. Could they even go something that neither you nor I went with? Could you see the Seahawks going with a cornerback at 18?
I could, and I had them do it in the first mock draft that we did. I definitely think it's an option. I think, honestly...
You had him go with Josh Jackson out of Iowa.
I think that pretty much anything is an option, defensive side of the ball, for the Seahawks. A lot of people are going to assume they won't do it. A lot of people are going to assume that it is offensive tackle, but I think it's a good it's a team that could very well surprise you. They're going to think, hey, Russell Wilson, he gets it done on his own. He doesn't need an offensive line. He's doing okay. We were best when we had a great defense. Let's go and get that again.
One team I'm going to throw out there as a surprise before I give any team you think we should hit that we haven't. It's the Packers. And the reason why it's the Packers is because of they're another team that usually you think the Packers are going to go one way and then they juke and go another way, where you hit it right on the head. The position that you have them going with could be a big need for them. Cornerback is really the need, but really any secondary help would be good for this team. However, I'm going on the opposite side. I'm being more not reactive, but a little proactive here, to where, they have a contract situation coming up with Randall Cobb. He could be a cap casualty. So I'm going more towards on the get that casualty
which I think is totally possible.
And get a new wide receiver in here, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't care who he's throwing to. What went into your mind to give him Derwin James?
I agree with you that, wide receiver makes sense, but at the same time, Aaron Rodgers will make anybody a star. That's not a problem. I'm not concerned about that. For me, it's kind of, you just got rid of Dom Capers. You admitted defense is bad. We need to fix this. This team will not be able to get back to a Super Bowl until we give Aaron Rodgers a good defense that can give him the ball back. And to me, that's the answer right there. Derwin James to be that safety, to really lock it down and pair him up with HaHa Clinton-Dix. I think that's a great combination. What was that, 2 years ago, I think, with HaHa Clinton-Dix? When he got drafted, could have even been 3 at this point. But that's just such a great way to lock down the defensive backs and stop opposing quarterbacks. You got Matthew Stafford. You're assuming that Mitch Trubisky is going to turn into something good. Teddy Bridgewater gets back. That'll be good.
It was 3 years ago at HaHa.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while.
Has?
But yeah, I mean, you're going to go against good quarterbacks, of course. You want to get the ball back into your great quarterback's hands. The way you do that is you stop teams from throwing the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, the only other thing is, here's a little bit difference between yours and I's. Another is, for me, Derwin James went off the board right above them with the Redskins. So, in my mind, if they were going to go secondary help, the next cornerback that I have on the board is outside of this range, and I'll just give you a hint of who it is. It's Isaiah Oliver. Not telling you where he is. However, that's the first corner that I have. Part of me was like, if they're going to go pure cornerback, it might be a little bit of a reach at this point at 14. Derwin James would be a great fall for them, because there are some, originally I had Derwin James right there to the Niners at 10. I had him as a top 10 pick yet again, kind of like how I had in the first mock draft where I believe the Redskins were there. But another thing with the Packers when it comes to wide receiver, and this doesn't nail my point anymore because, like you said, they could go either way. And I'll ask you this. Does the health of Jordy Nelson play into a factor too? Where it's like, I know this wasn't the year that he was coming back, but you might look at it and go, maybe by drafting a wide receiver, and why I picked Courtland Sutton is he could be a deep ball threat for Rodgers, take a little pressure off of Jordy Nelson, who has been banged up with season-ending injuries, to where he doesn't need to break his back to bring us places and be the number one target.
I mean, I think it's possible for sure. But to me, I'm not really that concerned about Jordy Nelson's health, and I'm really not concerned about Aaron Rodgers turning wide receivers who are just okay into really good, really talented wide receivers. We see him do it every year. This year, of course, he was hurt, so that doesn't help. But I'm not too concerned about that. I don't feel like it's the biggest need.
Any team you think that we didn't talk about in this range that you want to mention a little snippet about?
Honestly, no. I'm pretty happy with most of what we did. For me, this is a lot of defense. Well, a lot of line in general. A lot of defensive line for sure came off the board in this middle section. There's a lot of teams looking for pass rush and looking for interior to push some other big guys around. You got to get a big guy to push the other big guys around.
The only thing I want to say is I want to apologize to Raven fans for the pick I had you guys going with. You might not be excited about getting an offensive tackle like Mike McGlinchey. However, the only reason he fell to you is because the shakeup I had at 9-10. Then with the Packers, I was like, they can go offensive line or wide receiver. They took Cortland Sutton, who originally in my first draft had gone to you guys at 16. So I want to apologize that you're not getting your wide receiver that you might have wanted.
Don't worry about it.
You had him with James Washington. I did not. I had Cortland Sutton going to the Packers. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know, what do you guys think down below of our picks 11 through 21, and who would you guys have, and who are you excited for within this range of our mock draft? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.